This said, however, developments and finds from the Americas that would be commonplace in Europe or Asia simply cannot be ignored or automatically dismissed as ridiculous. We present to you evidence, and yes, in some places speculation, that Columbus really didn't discover anything unknown. The Western-centric model of exploration deserves to be examined, and other cultures respected. Furthermore, our modern view that ancient peoples were somehow backward, unsophisticated, or incapable is a notion simply untrue. We have used evidence in this book from a wide range of temporal periods, and given the sensitivities of the term exploration, which for some led to genocide and occupation, have attempted to be respectful and aware of the hardships faced by so many. With this in mind, in completing this book, I have sought to remember those who have, and still to this day do, suffered under conditions in which history still has taught us no lessons. Our mission in this book is not necessarily to educate, but it is to provoke, and to provoke you into thought about a side of history still so readily dismissed by some. I have attempted to capture both my own and Tim's passion for this topic, and as such I have, where possible and with evidence, looked to further the notion that they did not come to conquer. Tim, you asked me to edit, then add to this book, and, it seems in conversations you had with others, left for me to complete. I hope I have done you proud. James Martin. It should be noted that some authors quoted came from a school of now outdated and potentially offensive racial grouping, common throughout their own education. We have retained these quotes to demonstrate the topic at hand, exploration, not to cause offence. Introduction. There is a principle which is a barrier against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation. Herbert Spencer. Contempt prior to investigation and outright denial of reality are not attitudes restricted to fundamentalists of the religious or political persuasion alone. Sadly, this form of distorted thinking also infects parts of the academic world. This realm, which traditionally extols the virtues of proof, hard evidence, logical argument, and open-mindedness, is far from immune from a degree of denial that almost beggars belief. Nowhere is this more evident than in the study of early voyages to America. The official academic view that Columbus was the first European to reach the New World seems to be written in tablets of stone. It is not merely the dominant theory, it is the only one that is seriously discussed by American and European historians. The massive array of hard evidence to the contrary that has emerged over the past century or more has been denied, derided, ignored, or condemned as fake. When an artifact, such as the Vinland map, for example, is discovered, it is loudly and publicly denounced as a forgery. This announcement makes headline news and reinforces the public perception that Columbus was first, whereas the later proof of its authenticity is reported only in obscure journals that ordinary citizens never read, and thus this news rarely impinges on the public consciousness. A significant corollary to the concept that Columbus was first is the definitive and equally rigid idea that there was no dissemination of Native American flora and fauna to the outside world until after 1492. The academic bias in favour of Columbus is also invariably applied to any artifact found within the United States, irrespective of its age or nature. If it is dated prior to 1492, it will be described as of Native American origin, ignored, or misfiled. For example, in 1943, James Howe bought a farm on the banks of the Roanoke River in Virginia. He found some bog iron on the farm and some slag, and guessed that he had stumbled across the traces of an old colonial forge. However, he could not find